Yo guys, Codelife here. So in today's video guys, I want to quickly talk about a topic that's popped up recently that's regarding the inconsistencies and supposed changes to Bloom in Fortnite Chapter 2. According to the majority of the Fortnite community, it seems like Fortnite, or rather Epic Games, have supposedly increased the amount of Bloom that we get on our weapons, mainly the assault rifle, when we are spraying at our opponents. Now before I do get into this a bit more, I do want to just give a brief explanation on what Bloom is for those that don't know. So Bloom is pretty much the radius around the crosshair point where, say if you're firing at an opponent, your bullets will have a random chance to go off in different directions in that circle radius, no matter if your crosshair point is moving or if it literally stays in the exact same positioning while you were firing. This Bloom mechanic is very unique to Fortnite, as in other games like Counter-Strike, that game uses a recoil pattern mechanic where there's no Bloom or RNG whatsoever. In Fortnite though, the Bloom sometimes can feel like it exists and sometimes it doesn't exist, which shows how random it can really be. Like sometimes the Bloom can make the game feel super skill based, like when you shoot your bullets go where you fire, but other times it can be the complete opposite. Sometimes the Bloom's randomness can literally make your bullets paint an outline around your opponent's model, not hitting them once in a full mag, which can make the game feel as if it's punishing you or is against you in some sort of sense. Well, at least that's what it feels like for me. I'm hoping that does explain sort of both ends of Bloom and how it works in Fortnite as a core mechanic. It has literally been in the game since the start and it will be in the game forever. Recently though, the problem that we've been seeing is that this Bloom mechanic is starting to feel like it's being increased by a fair amount ever since this new season started. From what I've read online guys, there's been countless posts on the popular Fortnite Reddit, Fortnite Competitive, where many different players have put up posts complaining about Bloom and how it's been so inconsistent ever since this new season. Even recently as well, we've seen some pro players actually talk about this, like Sen Animal for example. He came out on Twitter and talked about the situation a little bit in this tweet. He said, "Bloom spray just feels so inconsistent and so random on mouse and keyboard since Fortnite Chapter 2. Plug in a controller though and it feels like the bullets shoot dead straight." And along with that tweet, he posted this video.
Okay. We could bow towards them.
We're so much later. We want in it's first zone and we want barracks.
I hit one for 50. He's in there. I sprayed him. He's 30 white, 60 white, 60 white. He's dead. He's dead. There's another guy spraying. I hit him 60 white, 60 white. He's fucking shambles. Pushing. 20 blue on me. One's pushing me. I'm going to fucking shit on him. He's awful. He got his wall.
As you guys seen from that video there, the Bloom was pretty bad. Like Animal's crosshair was directly on his opponent there, but yet none of the bullets hit. He then later plugs in a controller in this same tournament, like he literally just plugs in a controller and it seems like the Bloom just disappeared. Like he pretty much lasered that kid with his controller. Now I know that Bloom is Bloom and at the end of the day it is all random, but those differences between the mouse and keyboard versus the controller do seem a bit strange. Like I'm not saying that there's no Bloom on controller, I know there is Bloom, like that's a fact, but I'm saying that the difference is quite crazy and it's something that I do sort of want to look into further, but we'll leave that for another video. In my experience though, with Bloom this season, it's honestly been quite rare. Like I don't even spray and shoot that much. I usually either tap or burst fire. It does still affect me though, like I'm not saying that it doesn't, but I haven't really noticed it that much. Saying that though, it is quite funny because today I did play a game like literally 2 hours ago where I said to myself I was going to spray with an AR and try and see how inconsistent Bloom is this season. And for me, it was sort of 50-50, as you can see from these two clips here. In the first clip, this is my Bloom being pretty dead on and accurate. And then in the second clip here, you can see that my Bloom is just being god awful. So overall from those two clips guys, as you've seen, it is pretty 50-50. Like I know that was a bad test, but it does just show how good and sort of how bad Bloom can be overall. That isn't really the point though, it does sort of change with everyone, like Bloom is Bloom and I might have just been like really lucky. The whole point of this video though is to sort of shed light on this situation, on how Epic Games might have actually increased Bloom without telling any of us, like they might have done it secretly. Unfortunately, there's no solid proof of them actually changing any sort of values or anything anything related to bloom in the files, nor has there been any statements or blog posts by Epic Games on this, which is a real shame. Like, if they did do it secretly, I don't agree with that at all. Like, they should be transparent and they should tell us if they're changing something that's such a core mechanic of the game. Overall though, from the Fortnite community, it definitely does seem as if Fortnite have increased the bloom. My question is though, why would they do this? And I do have one idea why I think they did. I honestly think that the purpose of this was to lower the skill level in Fortnite overall by a very slight and unnoticeable amount. As most of you guys already know, Fortnite is literally the most popular game out there right now, and with them bringing out this new season last month, obviously they would have gotten more players trying out the game for the first time, and even have older players returning to the game again after not playing for a while. Both of these type of players, say the new players and sort of the old ones that are returning, would be pretty bad at the game, as you would imagine, as they've either not played the game before or haven't played in a very long while. So to help those players out specifically, I think Epic Games have decided to bump the values of the bloom to basically give those players a better chance in either getting kills or winning the game, which does overall make the game more fun for them and does make them want to play longer, which could in turn make them buy skins, etc. To me, that makes sense as the reason for why they would increase the bloom, even if they did it so ever slightly. This does sound good and all, and it does seem like it's not hurting anyone, but guys, it really is. For all the competitive players out there right now, this does lower the skill gap no matter how you look at it. In my opinion, I think they should revert it to how it was back in Season 10 and the previous seasons, as it did seem pretty fair there, and no one was really complaining about the inconsistencies. Or if not that, literally just lower it slightly, as right now, everyone's saying that it is a bit too inconsistent, which isn't good. But yeah guys, that's literally my general thoughts on the bloom issue in Fortnite right now, and that's all I've got for today's video. Let me know in the comments below guys what your thoughts are on the current bloom situation in Fortnite. Have you experienced bad bloom as you've seen in this video before, or is your bloom quite consistent and it sort of plays out how it should be? I would love to sort of overall know the sort of percentage on who thinks bloom is too high right now and who doesn't. So be sure to let me know your thoughts guys in the comments below. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.